Okay, so to continue our coverage over the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics, we pick up with Wolverine number 2 and number 3. Now, getting into Wolverine number 2, we actually pick up with the Marauders right now on their boat in the middle of the ocean. Now, this seems like a normal day for our characters right now, but out of nowhere, that is the moment you have each member of the Marauders begin to act weird, where they're apparently kind of slowing down the boat and beginning to attack the boat in different ways. Now, the only person who's not doing this is Bishop, which means every other member of the Marauders right now are basically being mind controlled. And the big question is now, who is mind controlling them? And that is the moment we come to find out it is the Pale Girl. Now remember, the Pale Girl is a new creation in Wolverine comics. And apparently she has the ability to get into your mind and make you do anything she wants you to do. And so right now, it's her trying to remove the Marauders. Now we have no idea why she's attacking the Marauders for, but she's trying to remove them, to the point that you have Bishop actually be drowned. Now, with that being said, look at that picture. It's Kitty Pryde drowning Bishop. And so we could be left to believe that this takes place right after Marauders number 8, where Bishop is transporting the body of Kitty Pryde after finding her dead in the middle of the ocean. But either way, the Marauders were taken out. Now, we do jump back over to Wolverine, and you have the book remind us in our last video that Wolverine had killed the entire X-Force team. Now, we know that it was the Pale Girl who had entered his mind and made him believe that the X-Force team were a bunch of bad people. And of course, she made him think that every single member of the X-Force team was one of his enemies from the past. For example, like Sabretooth. And so with that, Wolverine went on a rampage thinking that he was attacking old enemies of his, but in reality, he was killing off members of the X-Force team. And that is the moment you have Wolverine wake up. And of course, he was just having a dream, but that dream was him remembering what he did to the X-Force team, what the Pale Girl made him do to the X-Force team. Now, with that being said, once he wakes up, he is confronted by Healer. Of course, Healer, like his name says, he is a healer. Now, you do have Healer tell Wolverine that he was dropped off by Agent Bannister. Now, remember, Agent Bannister is right now trying to figure out what is going on in Baltimore, but other cities with a new kind of drug. And so really, Agent Bannister is on the same case like Wolverine is. And so you have Healer tell Wolverine, hey, Bannister basically left you at one of our gates, you came through, and we brought you here to heal up. But we want to tell you the same thing that's happening to you is happening to other people. Prime example, Bishop. Bishop almost died. And so now it's Wolverine kind of like, I need to find this Pale Girl. Now, we actually do pick up with Agent Bannister. Now, Agent Bannister is right now with his daughter. And this is the book reminding us that right now, his daughter is very, very sick. Because right now, she's on a waiting list for a special kind of medicine. And of course, that special kind of medicine only comes from one place, COPPA. Now, with COPPA having an issue right now with their flowers being out there in the world, and of course, somebody stealing their flowers to make drugs instead of medicine, right now, the mutant nation is having a hard time getting their medicine out because they're scared that if their medicine gets out there, more and more drugs will be made. And of course, it'll be a drug war thanks to the mutant nation. But either way, that is the moment you have Agent Bannister get a call from Meredith Milley. Now, Meredith Milley tells Agent Bannister some bad news, that apparently they had sent 2 agents to LA to learn more about this new drug that is out there in the world. The problem is though, both agents are dead. They killed themselves. Sorry, scratch that. One agent is dead, one almost died by trying to burn her face off. But either way, the one that lived, she keeps saying, the pale girl, the pale girl. And that right there tells Agent Bannister something bad is happening right now. And it could be the mutants, the new mutant nation COPPA, or it could be a third party out there just trying to frame the mutant nation. Now, we do jump back to Wolverine, where he goes to a certain location where you have the eggs of mutants being brought back to life at. What I mean is that you have the five mutants who have the ability to bring a mutant back to life after they had died. But the thing is, those mutants who are being brought back to life, they go through a whole process where they have to stay in the egg and basically be grown in the egg when they didn't hatch out the egg when they're ready. And so right now it's Wolverine going to Jean Grey's egg as she is being regrown once again. Now with that being said, you have Wolverine see Scott Summers, because at this point in Marvel Comics, Scott Summers is technically married to Jean Grey, if I remember correctly. But on top of that, Jean Grey is banging Wolverine as well, and Scott Summers knows. Now this is Wolverine saying like, the trust between him and Scott Summers is usually strong. But with Wolverine killing Jean Grey on accident, is Scott Summers kind of like, I still trust you, Wolverine, but at the same time can't trust you because you killed the woman we both love. But we all know that apparently your mind was taken over. So you better find the person that had did this to you that ended up killing Jean Grey. Now we do see some time has passed by, and we pick up with Agent Bannister right now with Meredith Milley at a shooting range. Now the reason why they're meeting here is because it's Agent Bannister thinking that right now his entire team, this whole drug force team, there's someone on their team right now leaking information. And so with that happening right there, it's basically Agent Bannister saying, we are going to pretend to shut down the drug force team. But in reality, it's going to be me and maybe you working together to figure out who was the traitor leaking information out to the world about this problem, and also probably leaking information to our enemies, because this Pale Girl has been almost every single location that we have sent an agent to. And so this is Agent Bannister trying to go dark to hopefully find this Pale Girl. Now, you do have Wolverine actually meet up with Agent Bannister. Now, this meeting, it's not a good meeting. It's two people who are very rough around the edges, very rude, very serious, but they know they need to come together to figure out what in the world is going on. Because remember, Agent Bannister did find Wolverine out in the wilderness and brought him back to one of the gates of COPPA so that Wolverine can go back to COPPA and heal up. But either way, Wolverine came back to Agent Bannister hoping to have someone to help him out to figure out who this Pale Girl is and how can they stop her. Because right now, this is basically Agent Bannister showing us what the humans are thinking right now. This new drug war is the mutants' fault. They brought a new medicine out in the world, and now you have a drug being made out of that medicine, and of course, people are dying from that drug. Now, we also do learn why Agent Bannister kinda hate mutants for, because apparently he was near a big battle between mutants and he got scarred by that battle. And so here he is again saying, listen, I got scarred because two mutants fought against one another. And now mutants once again have brought medicine to our world, and it led to a new kind of drug, and now people are dying. Once again, collateral damage thanks to mutants. And so that's why he kind of hates mutants, but he is going to work with Wolverine to figure out who in the world is this Pale Girl and to hopefully stop her. But then we pick up with Wolverine, Agent Bannister, and Meredith Milley. And the reason why we pick up with those three characters is because right now they are pretending to be a group of people who are transporting a huge amount of medicine to a certain location. Now, of course, they're hoping that with them doing this right here, that information will get leaked out and the Pale Girl will show up and they can set up a trap to capture her. But here comes the big problem though. See, you do have Wolverine and Agent Bannister go into the control room with Meredith Milley. But right when Agent Bannister is looking out the window, well, that is the moment you have Wolverine stab Agent Bannister. And you're kind of like, wait, why? Well, the reason why, because Wolverine is being mind controlled once again by the Pale Girl. And the Pale Girl has been on the boat the entire time. And the Pale Girl is actually Meredith Milley. She is the Pale Girl. But then we have to jump back one day prior from the present day. And so with that, we pick up with Wolverine getting drunk with Magneto. Now, it is hilarious because when it comes to Wolverine, he can't get drunk. He has a healing factor. And so with that healing factor, it's basically pointless in trying to drink with him. And so you have Magneto just pass out. Now, you would think this is a random thing for this book to show us this. Why in the world should we care? Well, because Wolverine takes the helmet of Magneto, and that helmet is very, very important. But then we jump into the present day, where we see the Pale Girl controlling Wolverine. Now, this is Wolverine telling us about his past, which most X-Men fans know, but some fans don't. When it comes to Wolverine, he has been around for a very long time, and I mean a very long time. But this is Wolverine always saying that usually he never planned things out. When usually he goes into battle, he's just winging it. He's just going with the flow. Now he has a plan. And so even though the Pale Girl has control over his mind, it's him saying, I have a plan. And my plan is to bring down the whole Flower Cartel, this new drug lord company that's right now trying to take our medicine and make a new drug and start a new kind of drug war. And so we do jump back to yesterday once again, where we see Wolverine meeting up with Kid Omega, and Kid Omega is part of his plan. Now, Kid Omega is actually part of the X-Force team. And so with that, you have Kid Omega tell Wolverine that he is tired of dying. And so this time, he is not going to help out Wolverine, except Wolverine had another plan just in case to make Kid Omega fall in line with his plan, which is to use the Stepher Cuckoos, the clones of Emma Frost. Because Kid Omega loves to be praised so much, Wolverine actually made a deal with the Stepher Cuckoos to kind of pretend they actually like Kid Omega, to make Kid Omega say yes to helping out Wolverine. In return, Wolverine must get Cable to date the sisters, the Stepher Cuckoos. I find it hilarious. But getting back into the present day, it still seems like the Pale Girl has control over Wolverine. And so with that being said, she makes Wolverine drive over to what seems to be a submarine base that she is right now running with the Flower Cartel. Now, with that being said, as soon as the boat arrives at this submarine and when the boat opens up, you have Wolverine appear once again with the Marauders, but also wearing Magneto's helmet. And so now the big question is, wait, if Wolverine's down there with the Marauders, then who's up there with the Pale Girl? Because the Pale Girl is thinking that she has control over Wolverine. And that is when we jump back one more day again. We jump back to yesterday, where we see Wolverine recruiting the Marauders to help him out with this mission. Now, with that being said, you do have Wolverine tell Kid Omega that he has a different mission, a different part of the plan. And that plan is going to put Kid Omega right where he wants to be, in the spotlight. And that is the moment we come to find out the Pale Girl never did have Wolverine under her control. The Wolverine that's next to her is Kid Omega, basically using his psychic powers to change his appearance to other people's eyes to make the Pale Girl think that she has Wolverine under her control. But in reality, she never did, and it was Kid Omega. Now, you do have Kid Omega kind of gloat that he was able to trick the Pale Girl, but that is the moment the Pale Girl takes over Agent Bannister and knocks out Wolverine. Kid Omega. But then you have the rest of the team, Wolverine and the Marauders, fighting throughout the ship to try to bring down the Flower Cartel. But here comes the next big problem though. Now, right when it seems like Wolverine is going to be able to bring in the Pale Girl and to finally stop the Flower Cartel, well, that is the moment you have the Pale Girl use her powers on Agent Bannister. What I mean is that with her being able to take control of people's minds, she makes Bannister pull his gun out and point the gun to his head. And so, if anyone else move a tad bit closer to her, she will make Bannister shoot himself in the head, which of course gives her a way to leave the Wolverine and the Marauders behind. And so as soon as she leaves and she's able to get away, she lets go control over Agent Bannister, but she was able to get away, even though her submarine base was mostly destroyed. But then we pick up with Agent Bannister and Wolverine the next day. And honestly, this moment right here is really the two of them kind of just coming together, just chilling, relaxing, realizing that they were able to bring down most of the cartel, but now they know the Pale Girl was Meredith Milley. And so if she ever pops up again, they can technically take her down. And so it's Wolverine and Agent Bannister making a deal with one another. And you actually have Wolverine give Agent Bannister a Krakoan gate in his own backyard, which is very crazy to say. But this is where the book ends, and the next time we pick up with Wolverine, he's gonna fight against some vampires. Yes, you heard right, vampires. And so with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But I'll see you next time, guys. Later.